favor, she did him a favor, and bam, done. So, which it's never really said how he gets off, because at the end of the first movie, he's still incarcerated, but I'm assuming because Billy and Stu confessed that she recanted what she said and helped get him out.
Yeah.
Because she was a witness, you know, and a prime witness in a case like that. She saw somebody leave wearing his coat. You know, she was a direct, you know, eyewitness to, you know, events. So she probably went back and helped him, you know, get out, and then he helped save her, because otherwise Debbie would have, you know, gutted her ass, and that would have been the end of Sydney. So I think overall very, very well done. Craven obviously showing talent again for taking a horror film to new heights, and getting together a good, you know, good cast, getting together good cinematography with some of his best work. Lots of just good development overall. I really do think that the characters were so much more well developed in this than they were in the first Scream film. Aside from Sydney, obviously. I mean, she kind of, like you said, took a back seat to the precariousness of the relationship between Dewey and Gale in the second one. But again, it all ties up together, because the ones who survived the first film, with the exception of Randy, survived the second film. You know.
Well, it's weird because, yeah, I was going to say, like, I've always liked the second Scream movie, and I still like the movie, but I can't go as high as I did the first one. Like, the first one's a 4 because it's a masterpiece. The second one has its problems, and I think a lot of those problems are because of all the rewrites and all that shit. I don't care about Debbie Salt as the killer or Mrs. Loomis. I think it sucks, to be honest with you. It's not the worst. I'll get to the worst. But I don't like Mrs. It's a stupid, come on now. Like, I mean, I don't know. Mrs. Loomis as the killer sucks. Mickey as the killer is pretty cool. But, I don't know, something about Mrs. Loomis as the killer, she's, like, overacting and shit. I just don't like it. But it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, obviously. I just don't like it that much. I mean, and the fact that she's, like, throwing Randy around, she's acting like she's a dude, and that's just unbelievable. Some of that shit, like, again, I know it's a movie, all that bullshit. I just don't like it. I don't think the intro's as good as the first one. There's parts of it that are good. You are right, Randy is as good or better than the first one, but then they fucking kill Randy. So it's like, now Randy's gone, and we don't have that. I don't care about Gale and Dewey that much, and this movie is, like, focused on them. Sydney's been through hell. I feel bad for her. Cotton Weary's cool. I like him a lot in this movie. I like Mickey a lot in this movie. We don't get enough of Mickey, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. The kills weren't as good as I would hope, but there are a couple of really good ones. I'm not going to, like, take that away from it. No doubt about that. But I don't know. We could go on and on about this. I give it a high 3 out of 4, and we'll get to how it stacks up. Oh, Blake left. I think Blake will be back in a second. Otherwise, you guys are going to be listening to a snoring Vic. So this movie gets a 6.1 on IMDb, and I give it a 3 out of 4, a high 3 out of 4. So I don't know. Is it bad, or listen to this? Let's take just a second to appreciate Vic snoring. Come on, Vic, snore some more. There it is. Everybody enjoying this? This is our podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Travis and Vic's drunken or sleeping adventures. Or snoring adventures. So anyway, he's fucking cracking me up. I can't believe this shit. All right. So anyway, a high 3 out of 4 for Scream 2. Goddamn, we better get to Scream 3 now. All right. So Scream 3 from 2000 came out February 4th, 2000. So they break the old trend of coming out with the Scream movies in December around the holidays, and they come out with it in February. And I can tell you guys that this was the only one of the first 3 that I saw at the theater. So we're on to Scream 3. Vic and Blake's back. Blake, when you get logged in here, let's see. Are you ready to talk about Scream 3, buddy?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell just happened. I'm so sorry.
I let everybody listen to Vic snore for a minute. By the way, I gave Scream 2 a high 3 out of 4. I can't can't quite go as high as the first Scream, because I think the first Scream's like so much better than Scream 2. But I like Scream 2 a lot. It's weird, but I wouldn't just sit down and watch Scream 2 without having watched Scream 1 first. It's not like one of those sequels. Like I could sit down and watch Friday the 13th Part 2 without having seen the first one first, but Scream 2 feels like I need to watch the first one first because it's so much better than the second one. That's just me, though. Blake, when you're ready, we can talk about Scream 3. I gave the date it came out, February 4th, 2000, and it gets a 5.5 on IMDb. So it's steadily dropping throughout the franchise, 7.2 to a 6.1 to a 5.5 now.
Yeah, that was a real problem, and there were things about the film that made it that way, which we'll get into shortly. But yeah, directed by Wes Craven, written originally by Kevin Williamson, but Aaron Kruger, interesting namesake there, took over the writing for the film because Kevin Williamson was juggling so many projects. He was doing Dawson's Creek, which probably accounts for why Josh Jackson was in Scream 2. Because that was about the time that Dawson's Creek started. But he's busy with so many projects that he handed over what was remaining of the script and the writing over to Aaron Kruger, and Aaron Kruger actually scrapped a lot of the original ideas that Kevin had. One of them being that Stu actually somehow survived his supposed death in the first movie and was orchestrating Ghostface-like attacks from prison, targeting students in high school and Sydney later on. They dropped
Wish
that.
they would have.
Yeah, they dropped that because of the Columbine school shootings, which happened at the beginning, earlier in the year when the Scream 3 film was going to come out. Wes decided, which I think was a good decision, to wait and release it later instead of releasing it as early because people were still reeling from that. And I think that whole notion is of the Columbine shootings and those killers is what kind of contributed to the lower rating that this one has on, like IMDb and some of the other film sites.
Yeah.
But, again, we've got the return of some characters that survived. Obviously, you've got, the main cast there that survived the last one. But it starts off a lot different than the other two films. It starts off with this skyline shot of Hollywood. And it looks like it's about to be, some big-time blockbuster movie. And then you get in on this Range Rover or whatever vehicle it is, and Cotton Weary is in there. And he's talking to what one would presume would be his agent because of, the context of the conversation. And you see a billboard that says 100% cotton, and all this. And it's, there's some TV clips from,
he got what he wanted.
Else. Yeah, he got his fame in 15 minutes, and he became basically something sort of like Maury Povich or Jerry Springer, or something to that nature. Fucking, talk show host. That's, his 15 minutes of fame. Then he gets a phone call, and it's a woman, and she's wanting to talk to him, and she says, "You sound an awful lot like that guy on TV, what's his name, Cotton Weary." And then he laughs, and then by the context of that laugh and, some deducing, the female caller identifies him as being the actual Cotton Weary. And she says, "Can't believe it. Oh, my God. I love your show." And he's like, "Are you a big 100% Cotton fan?" And she's like, 110%. And you think, oh, hell, it's going to be something going on here. So he says, "Can you hold on? I've got another call. Just hold on. Just wait right there, and I'll get back to you." So he tells his agent, that he'll call them back, and he gets back on the phone with this female caller. And then the conversation, after a few more, seconds of dialogue, takes a turn differently, and he's like, "Well, what would," she's like, "What would your girlfriend think?" And then he's like, "What makes you think I have a girlfriend?" Sort of like kind of aping the original line that Casey Becker did in the first film, except it's reversed,
Mm-hmm.
And she says, the voice changes. It's no longer a woman. It's Ghostface's voice. It's Roger L. Jackson. And he says, "Because I'm standing here, I'm standing right here. I'm looking at her." And she's, let's step in and take a closer look. She's in the shower. She's got a nice little
Hey,
voice.
you know what was cool, though? Is
Yeah.
that it went from, like, a female voice to the Ghostface voice right there.
Right.
And, like, automatically, you don't know what we're about to find out in a few minutes. So you think, okay, is Ghostface, like, a female this time? You know what I mean? That's what you think, I would think at the very start. I don't even fucking remember. I know I saw it at the theater, but this was 17 years ago, so I don't remember. But, I mean, that seems like what it's, you know, because, I mean, last movie we got a female killer. So, I mean, it seems like it's trying to point you in that direction within the first, 5-10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When the voice changes like that, you're like, oh, hell, because the voice, the voice changer that Mickey and then, Stu and Billy used before him didn't have a function like that where it was able to mimic, a female voice or, something like that. So you're definitely not sure what the hell's going on. You're thinking, oh, hell, this is going to be like the last one. There's going to be a female killer. Well, there's, they cut to Kelly Rutherford, that's, Christine Cotton's, girlfriend, I guess, living girlfriend there, taking a shower and singing and stuff. And then she gets out of the shower, and notices that the door is open, the bathroom door. Well, we know as the audience that Ghostface has opened up the door and went in there because he makes a crack about her having a nice little voice, or whatever. So we know that, but she doesn't. So she gets out with just a towel, as you do, I guess, in the fucking horror movie. You get out, you wander around the house in a fucking just a towel.
And again, for the third straight movie, we don't get anything. Pisses me off.
Nope, you don't get anything. And all of a sudden, she hears the radio pop on, I guess, in what would be Cotton's office or the bedroom, and it's Creed playing What If.
Blake, I noticed something cool, too. When she drops her towel, to go get herself dressed or whatever, it reminded me of Stab. Remember when, like, Casey Becker, or the one that's playing Casey Becker, Heather Graham, drops the towel? Graham.
Yes.
Yeah, and, like, it's almost shot for shot the same thing.
Yeah, it is. And I think that was a reference because I guess to kind of jump ahead just a little, at the time, I think they were giving an homage to the second film because they intended this one to be the last. So they made a couple of really good references to the second one, and that scene is, specific. So anyway, you got Christine wandering the fucking house trying to figure out why the Creed is on playing What If, and it's loud, and she turns off the radio, or, the stereo or whatever, and Cotton, by that point, Ghostface has asked him where Sydney was, and he said, fuck you, I'm not telling you, you're a fucking psycho, I'll fucking kill you, this, that, and the other, and he says, wrong answer.
Wrong answer.
Yeah, which is a reference.
He said, you've got one chance to,
he
said, you got one chance to tell me. Wrong answer, and he hangs up. Ghostface didn't
and then Cotton's like, oh shit, so he starts fucking just fucking plowing through fucking traffic, just being a fucking ridiculously reckless driver, but for good reason. He's worried
he drove
about
like Vicky in the second one.
Yeah. So, well, I don't really feel all that bad because it seems like from the context of the original conversation when he thought that the killer was a woman, that he was trying to get him a little extra. So I was like, you're a douchebag.
Yeah. Oh, he was, and it wouldn't be the first time, I'm sure, either.
Oh, right. We don't know how many people before Christine, were...
Well, I mean, who was fucking a married woman? Maureen Prescott.
Right,
so.
And he says definitely, the killer makes a reference to she's definitely a step up from Maureen Prescott, and that fucking pisses Cotton off to the max.
I love it, though.
Yeah. So he's driving through traffic, trying to get home, fucking up, hitting people, and fucking all kind of shit. And then it pans back, goes back, and cuts to Christine in the house, and you hear, after a few minutes, you hear the door open, and she says hello, and then it's Cotton's voice. Says, hey babe, it's just me, and just coming in, hon, this and that and the other, and he's like, you're never going to guess what happened to me, and she's like, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden, a fucking Ghostface is right there, just jumps out of fucking nowhere, and it starts, scares the shit out of her. But before that, this is something that's always fucked with me, is, the game, she refers to something thinking Cotton's enough, a stab game.
Do you think he dresses up as Ghostface and chases her around or something? What was that comment about?
I don't know, but it's great and fucking awful all at the same time. It's so mysterious and
Weird.
It makes you think, what kind of kink is that?